When your old career gives you lemons, throw in some ice, mix in some vodka, and call it a podcast. From the Mac of All Trades studio in Fairport, and driven by Victor Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, it's Billified, the Bill Moran Podcast.
Well, hello and welcome. Thanks for getting your pot on. Thanks for telling a friend. That's how we spread the word, one person at a time. Today's episode will be a little different. One, because it's just me. Two, because there are three things that have been rattling around in my head that I want to talk about. And I believe they loosely connect, but possibly not the way you may think and not the way I may think. First, I spent part of the weekend helping out a charity event for a college buddy. And it got me thinking about friendships, memories, why maintaining connections matters more than it probably ever has in the history of humanity. Second, I learned that apparently, and we've discussed this because listeners have come at me about it, I swear a lot more casually than I thought I did after dropping an F-bomb on stage at an event benefiting middle school girls basketball. So we'll unpack that little gem. And the third thing I want to talk about is motivational posts on social media, because I see them constantly. And every time I do, I find myself asking the same question. Who exactly is this for? But let's start with my college buddy. A gift he brought me and a prank that probably should have gotten all of us punched in the face, because I forgot about this. And I don't remember being that involved in it. But I went and did this charity event. And I have like a cold. I don't know. Anybody else get like this summer cold right now? It sucks. I went and did this charity event. All I was doing was the live auction section of this. It was for a good friend in college, and he brought me a gift afterwards, and I'll show it to you. This immediately transported me back to college. So we used to have competitions at Fisher that were school sanctioned. I think they were like, I don't know, maybe Residential Life. That's where the money came from. And we bought T-shirts and things, and it was floor against floor. So this sounds, I don't remember being involved in the making of this shirt. However, there's something very telling on this shirt that would say I was absolutely involved. Here's the shirt. It was like 1993, maybe. I don't even know. So, yeah, we had like our sacks, but we really wanted to say lick our sacks. Okay. So we crossed out the E on all the shirts with a marker. So it said lick our sacks. Okay. And I vaguely remember this, but it sounds like I don't think I said lick our sacks a lot, but I don't know. Now, this is the part where I go, oh yeah, I had to be involved in this T-shirt. Right? The Stones logo on the back. The Stones logo is on the back, and it says appeal, so Sacks appeal. I don't know. So I met him after the event, like a day or so after. And seeing that immediately sort of brought me back. And then he mentioned a prank we did. There was a guy. Now, when we had all transferred into Fisher. So maybe these guys didn't. I don't remember. But anyway, we were in a dorm that had transfers. There was students, and a lot of students went and lived in this dorm because it was quieter and they could study. And they didn't want roommates, so there were some rooms that were solo rooms. So a few people had signed up for the solo rooms, and one of them was this. I won't say a name, but and the guy's great. Like later in life, I found myself extremely drunk at Watkins Glen, and this will tell anybody who knows this person exactly who it is. If you think you have an idea, otherwise it just doesn't matter. But this guy, despite all this shit, still went and got me out of a jam at Watkins Glen because I was really drunk and about to get in a fight. And he comes rolling by, and he was a police officer at the time who happened to be there. It was the weirdest thing. But he really liked this girl, and he had a room by himself, but I'm pretty sure he had transferred into, but he didn't know anybody transferring in, so he took a solo room. I took a risk. It was like, I'm getting a roommate. Let's have some fun. So he really liked this girl down the hall. She was pretty. She really was. She was attractive, and probably not really giving him the time of day. I don't know. So he got really drunk one night and went in his room and passed out. We didn't hear from him for the rest of the night. So we decided to tell him the next day that he hooked up with this girl. And we got her, I don't know how, but we got her to agree to play along. So to the point where she gave us a bra that we could slide into his bed when he wasn't around. So he gets up the next day. We're all kind of fucking around. We would pop into each other's rooms. And he comes in and he's like, oh, man. And we go, hey, buddy, how did it go last night? He's like, what? You and so-and-so. He's like, what? He's like, yeah. He's like, oh, really? Now, at this point, I'm vaguely remembering this, and I'm sure I was a ringleader in this whole thing, but maybe not. So I do remember the really, and I'm sorry, my nose is bothering me. As this conversation progressed, someone slipped in his room and put her bra like under his pillow or down in his sheets somewhere. And we're like, yeah, you hooked up with her. And he's like, oh, man, I don't even remember. We're like, this is what you always wanted. No, I know. I can't believe it. Oh, my God. We're like, no, man, we saw her leave your room. Oh, my God, you got to be kidding me. So we're like, you got to go in there. I'm sure there's something in there that will prove to you she was here. He goes in, and I think we're at this point, we're like standing around the door, and we motion for her to come down. And because the stairwell was right by her. And she walks by, she's like, hey. And she's like, how are you? And he's like, oh my God. And then he finds her bra. Or it could have been the other way around, but he found the bra, right? And he's standing there and he's like, oh my God. Now we have like got him to the point where he's buying in, and he says, it's starting to come back to me. I don't remember how we revealed to him that it was all a prank. Like, we should have been punched in the face for this. I just remember that I was laughing so fucking hard. I do remember that I had to like go in my room and bury my face in a pillow and just fucking howl with laughter because there was no way that this was happening. But for whatever reason, I decided to to do that. And the prank, funny, right? Kind of shitty, but funny at the same time. I mean, maybe he laughs about it today. I don't know. Here's the thing that I found with this is the older I get, the more I realize relationships aren't maintained by accident. They're maintained by intentionality, right? They're intentionally maintained. And that's what my college buddy has done a great job at. I have not, surprisingly. And man, those memories remind you of who you were. Maybe you're happy. You go, wow, I really changed a lot. I'm better. I went, hey, yeah, that sounds like me. Yeah, that sounds like it was on there. It's probably part of their shirt. But my point with this is summer's here, right? Text somebody, call somebody, grab a beer, play around a golf, go kayaking, do something, because those memories become the stories you'll laugh about 20 years from now. And we really are a little more isolated than all that, right? We're just kind of, we need that connection. And more we find ourselves like caught up in whatever, depending on the age of your kids. If you have kids, your career, if you have a career, if you're working multiple jobs, there's all kinds of things, right? I mean, we have all that on this podcast. Like our friend Doug has got like 3 different things going on, and other people have a bunch of kids that they're running around with. So yeah, I mean, but don't lose that. Like Laura on the podcast is excellent at doing that. Now, I was asked to do the live auction at this charity. And there was one of the items was like a weekend. Somebody had given their weekend home to Canisius Lake. So I get up there, and you're trying to just bring some humor to it, right? So I'm going, well, up next is a chance to repair your marriage in one weekend, right? You do these silly little things, and they're laughing and they're going on. And now we're getting into the auction. It might not have been this item, but that was kind of the vibe I was setting. And now we're getting into a higher dollar amount, and we're down to like 2 bidders, then a third actually popped in at those higher numbers. And I'm like, okay. And then I see a guy out of the corner of my eye who is like waving a hand. His arm is moving. So I'm assuming he's in on the bid. And I go, so I say the number and I point to him, and he's like, no. And I go, well, then what the fuck are you doing? Landing planes? And then I realize I am at I'm at a charity for middle school girls basketball. That's what we're here to raise. And I did not realize how casually, I swear, until, and I think this is for anybody, you're somewhere where you shouldn't swear and you do, right? And radio conditioned me one way where I could find alternative words and do all that. And then I just let my guard down. I must have just always have sworn off air continuously because I couldn't on air. I don't know what it was, but podcasting is another way. And then we get the people who have sent me complaint letters and stuff. And I go, okay, you're right. I should, kind of come back on that. But they're 2 different worlds, radio and podcasting. And I just would like to take this moment and formally apologize to every parent in attendance and every 6th grader who learned a new sentence structure that evening. Yeah, I appreciate it was Sunday night. I really appreciate that, that you were there, and they were all good sports about it, but boy, was I embarrassed. And again, like self-realization, man. And that got me thinking about communication in general, and something I consistently see online. I see motivational memes and quotes every single day. And it's like, things like people will show you who they really are. You got to protect your peace, right? If you want to, they will, or they would, which is something I have said I always say, if you want to, you will. I don't think I've ever seen that on a meme. I'm telling you, that's just a me realization in life. I got it. You deserve better, like all these things. And most of the time it's women that are posting this. Guys are just, we're house apes. You're more emotionally intelligent, ladies. I get that. Maybe you need the reminder. I don't know. I have like 3 theories as to why people post these things. You could need the reminder. We all know most of this stuff already, right? We know that exercise is good. We know that sleep matters. We know relationships. I just talked about making sure that you have your relationship. Relationships matter. Boundaries, right? They matter. And yet we do forget. We're human. We go on. And so maybe there's some way that it's somebody reminding them. I think it goes deeper than that. I think there's somebody looking for some validation. Like maybe they want someone to notice, or maybe they're, it resonates with them. So they think that their crew is going to benefit from that, or their tribe online. And, they're looking for the likes and the hearts and the thumbs up, or the this, which always comment shares, right? All those. And there's nothing wrong, absolutely nothing wrong with wanting connection. I mean that. My third theory, though, is this one. And I really think that a lot of times, if you find yourself posting one of these things, before you do the final click to post, or the final push on your phone screen to post something, I want you to think about this. This is the big one. and I want you to be honest, some of these posts are aimed directly at a specific person. It is a passive aggressive message that you're sending. When it's a video, right, and it's some guy telling you how to live, maybe not, right? He's on a beach somewhere. I saw 3 women post the same doctor on a beach talking about, well, you can't take it so seriously. You're a doctor on a fucking beach. They got to go to work. Whatever. Fine. If it makes you feel better, if you got something out of it, good for you. But some of these posts, I will say directly, like, you'll know how someone feels about you by the way, I had to break this down, by the way they show up in your life. Let me say that again. You'll know how somebody feels about you by the way they show up in your life. Translation, Corey, this is about you. And if Corey doesn't see it, hopefully one of Corey's friends does. And I'm like, oh, okay. If somebody isn't showing up, have you called them? Have you texted them? Has something happened in your own communication that maybe, sometimes there's a little break, but have you reached out? Have you done your part? Not theirs, right? Have you done your part? Okay. Then it's their part, right? If you've called, if you've texted, if you've tried, if you've apologized for something, if somebody consistently doesn't respond and doesn't show up, okay, and doesn't communicate, I'll say this, that's a reflection on them, not your value. That's a reflection of their capacity. Look, I get it. I'm an avoider by nature, man. Uncomfortable conversations are hard. I get it. Conflict is difficult. I understand it. Disappointing people sucks, right? But adults have uncomfortable conversations. Adults communicate. Adults clarify. Adults explain. Adults take responsibility. Adults don't disappear. Weak people disappear. People who have issues that they can't do the adult thing disappear. I'm not saying you need to then confront them, but then posting one of these things is a passive aggressive way of doing exactly that. If you have something to say to somebody and then leave them a voicemail or send them the text. If they don't respond, they don't respond. But that says more about them than you, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of people, right? We hear of ghosting now. Ghosting's a shitty thing to do to somebody. It really is. And I know I've probably done my share of it at some point in my life, but it's a shitty thing to do. And it says more about how weak you are. Adults have uncomfortable conversations in calm, rational ways. They address something, right? If you acted like a complete moron, which I have, and you apologize to somebody, and they don't ever respond, fine. Then I guess the message is taken. At the same time, you kind of go, all right, I get it. They're a weak person. They can't handle confrontation. They can't do that sort of thing. And that's absolutely fine. But again, adults communicate, adults clarify, adults explain, not going into great detail, but they can just go, this doesn't work for me. And adults take responsibility, right? Hey, I fucked up, right? But clearly this isn't, they just don't disappear. That is a child, and that's an awful thing. But then to go post that, again, to me, it puts a little bit of the weak on the poster as well. And the other one is the motivational things, like, go get it, Tiger. You got this, bitch. You're a god. Good morning, you son of a bitch. Go get the day. Okay, maybe you need the motivation. I don't really know. This is where I think most people get stuck in motivation versus discipline. Everyone loves motivation, right? Tony Robbins has built a career out of a multi-million-dollar, maybe billion-dollar career, I don't even know, out of motivating people. But here's the thing. Nobody loves discipline. And if you do, you're a liar. Motivation is a feeling. Discipline is a decision, my friends. That's the difference. Motivation gets you started. Discipline keeps you going, right? And I think that's like the big thing. And I've never seen that. No one posts that. I haven't seen that. I get the, let's go, you got this, you start, get up and go. I built myself from the bottom up. That's wonderful. I'm glad you did. But motivation shows up when it feels like. Discipline shows up because it said it would. That's the difference, right? Let me give you an example that I read recently. You brush your teeth no matter how you feel. That's discipline, right? Because I don't want shitty breath. I don't want yellow teeth, or I don't want my teeth to be too yellow. I don't feel like paying for a root canal or whatever's going to happen if I don't take care of my teeth. So you're disciplined, right? You brush your teeth if you're happy. You brush your teeth if you're sad, angry, tired. You don't negotiate. You go, you do it. That's discipline. Want to lose weight? Make that your priority. Put it first. Want to quit smoking? Put it first. Whatever you have to do that, put it first. Want to build a business? Put that first, right? Discipline is simply putting what you want most ahead of what you want right now, right? What you want most ahead of what you want right now. Again, not something I've seen posted. Somebody please post that. You don't have to attribute it to me. I'm just saying, just post it. Make a meme. Go. I guarantee it'll go viral. People will be retweeting. You're going to see that thing for the next 50 years because it's true. The life you want is usually right behind, hidden a little bit by all the things you don't feel like doing. That's exactly what it is. Feelings are temporary. Think about that. Every feeling you've ever had, temporary, right? You're happy, and then the next thing you know, you're in a shitty mood, right? They're temporary. Habits, habitual things, showing up, that's powerful. That's the real stuff. The people you think have their shit together. You ever see somebody and you go, excuse me, I didn't mean to sniff in your speaker or your ear. The people you think that have their shit together, and we've all seen these people, right? There's a presence about them. They're calm, they're engaging, they're playful, they're light. People are attracted to them. They're not always more talented or have their shit more together. They often are just more consistent about going to the gym, about being grounded, about getting their shit done, about looking their best, right? Nothing like that happens by accident. They became that way because they repeatedly did difficult things when they didn't feel like doing them. And I will say this, discipline can be very lonely, right? Digging into your own shit as to why you work, why you do things, that's a discipline. You don't want to do it. It sucks. You'd rather go get drunk and hook up with somebody. Not the answer. So that's where I go. The motivation people that post, okay, I got you. The passive aggressive, I got you. I know, but it keeps you stuck where you are. And so to me, maybe all three things connect even more than I thought. Friendships take effort, right? You got to make those work. Showing up takes effort. Growth takes effort. Discipline takes effort. None of it happens because of an inspirational meme. It just didn't. That person who's got their shit together, they must have seen what Julie posted over there. You know what I'm saying? That's not the case. So as you head into the next few days, reconnect with somebody. Reach out. Find them. Find somebody you haven't talked to in a while and just reconnect with somebody. Somebody who matters. Somebody who mattered in your life maybe 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years, whatever. Remember who you were before life got complicated. Are you less fun now? Did you lose that? Have the uncomfortable conversation calmly. You will feel better when you adult. You just will. Show up for people and stop waiting for motivation to save your ass. Motivation is a spark. Discipline, my friends, is the fire. I'm Bill Moran, and I'll see you behind your next motivational post.
I woke up in a hotel, didn't know what to do.